This video is for the jewelry store owner who is making about $30,000 to $50,000 in online sales through their jewelry store and who wants to scale to $2, $3, or even $500,000 a month. This is how we did it for one of our clients. In 2025, we added $1.4 million in revenue to their bottom line in online sales only. No appointments, no in-store, none of that. This is pure online strategy. So if this is for you, I'm going to give you the sauce. So first things first, let's identify the problem. So this client was very particular, okay? They were based out of Miami. They had a few things that were wrong with their setup. First of all, they were working with a previous agency, and that agency owned all the ad accounts, okay? Let me actually just get my marker. So that agency owned all the ad accounts. So there was no data ownership. So effectively, when we took over, we were actually starting from zero because they owned all the Google, all the Facebook. So we basically had to take brand new accounts. Even though they were making the $50,000 to $60,000 a month before, we had to start from scratch. The other thing was the creatives were just bad. And what I mean by bad is not that they didn't look good, is that they weren't revolved around any kind of data. So there was no clear creative iterative process. There was no tracking sheet. There was no performance sheet. There was no clear strategist who was owning like what the messaging was or even what kind of products were crushing. So essentially we had to basically build the data infrastructure that was feeding all the decision making to the creative strategist, which allowed us to pump out better creative. The other problem, and if you're watching this, I love you very much, there were some limiting beliefs when it comes to the founder, okay? This is a very important one. And one of them was making content. So as a founder, if you own a brand online, making content with your face on it is crucial. Now, I understand the content has to be at the level of which you want to build the brand, and that's amazing. And together, we were able to work very closely and create some really amazing founder style content, which really gave us the edge over the competition. And the other one was bad discounts. Now, I want to touch on this because this is something that I talk about a lot with prospects who try to work with us. A lot of them come in and say, we don't want to do discounts. And I'm really sorry to say, but even Tiffany & Co. do discounts. And if you don't believe me, sign up to their email newsletter. You see? So when you sign up to their email newsletter, you will get the occasional discount. And even at a brand that is that big with that much recognition, they still do discounts. That means that you are not good enough. You are not better than discounts. So using discounts strategically and seasonally will allow you to push that revenue threshold while maintaining profitability, because at the end of the day, the money is in the follow-up, right? So calculating your LTV, that's really the name of the game here when it comes to online sales especially. So we took these 4 points, okay, and that brings us to the solution. So we implemented 3 solutions here. The first one was founder content. This actually was a game changer. So this is something they were not doing before, but getting in front of camera, telling your story, crafting it in such a way that makes people resonate with them, this really gave us the edge here. The other one was unit economics. What does that mean? So unit economics is what allows us to leverage discounts in a profitable way, which means that when we come into a business, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at what is your cost of goods sold, the shipping, the freaking duties, the tariffs, the cost of the metal, silver, gold. This year had a crazy run. So every month we got to be adjusting our unit economic sheet and understanding what is the margin, how much of a discount can we give, and what is our overall LTV. When you know the numbers, when you know the data, that's when you can start generating millions and millions in additional dollars in revenue. So everything needs to be calculated, and we're not leaving anything to chance, and there's no like gut feeling thing here. Everything is by the numbers. And the other one was influencer seeding, okay? So what is influencer seeding? Influencer seeding is when you set up a cold email system, right? Which allows you to reach the person with the telephone. This is a telephone with this flash, by the way. So you have a cold email system, which basically is sending out email proposals to influencers that are like micro influencers and pitching them to be an ambassador, okay? And pitching them to do like maybe a rev share deal or even just like paying them for the content. And we were doing about like 2,000 cold emails per week. And this allowed us to generate something like 200 pieces of content every month. Okay. So this allowed us to generate an enormous amount of content, right? And these three things pushed us over the edge and is sending us into 2026. Okay. Now, what was the outcome? Okay. The outcome of this was, and in case you can't see it, we doubled the business. Okay, so like in 2024, they had a certain amount of number. In 2025, we doubled the business nearly. They were highly profitable. Okay, so most people think, oh, well, they spent so much more money and they were using discount, blah, blah, blah. No, we were tightly operating by a shared value and a shared location of truth, which is based on numbers, and they were highly profitable. And the other one is they're expanding now. So now this is like excluding a ton of stuff that we did, like including optimizing the website, the load time, the speed, the CRO, because that was all messed up. Improving the product images, just like working very closely with the email team, having a very rigorous calendar where we can push and pull ad spend properly. But this is essentially, in a nutshell, if you are a jewelry store owner and you're doing $50,000 a month and you just do these three things, you start hopping on front of camera, you start understanding your unit economics and start doing discounts strategically. So Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Black Friday, anniversary, 4th of July, things like that. And you start reaching out to influencers on your own for them to collaborate with you and for them to make content for you. You will double your business within a year. And if you don't feel like doing all that work and you want a team, you just click the link below and let's chat.